Hi, boys and girls. This is Mrs. Johnson. I've missed you guys so much. If you're going crazy in the house, I join you. The only thing keeping me sane is helping others around my neighborhood and my family, and then painting and drawing, which I just love. So, I have always wanted to do more drawing lessons with you guys, and we've never had enough time. So, guess what? We have time. So, starting next week, there's going to be at least one drawing for every age group, but feel free to look at the younger ones or the older ones. They're all going to be on YouTube. And maybe challenge yourself or do one that's easier and then put your own little spin on it. But the beautiful thing is, you guys all know how fast I go. Well, guess what? You get to pause it anytime you need to. So I think you'll appreciate that. This first little lesson, though, is really geared towards kindergarten. A lot of you did this in kindergarten. And then I'm going to add to it for first and second graders. But feel free to look at it, kind of see the format of how I'm going to do things. Unfortunately, if I draw, and you can see my face, you can't see my drawing. So for the rest of this video, all you're going to see is my hand and my drawing, but you'll hear my voice so you know exactly what I'm doing. Anyway, let's get started. Okay, so today we're going to draw baby chicks. All you need for this lesson is a school pencil. A big eraser would help because we do a lot of erasing in class. If you have Sharpies or crayons, that would be great. If you are in first or second grades, be sure to look at part 2 because I am going to show you some of the things you might add to your picture. So first thing you want to do is we're going to put 3 baby chicks on the page. We're going to start with just their body sizes in a nice little circle shape so they all look about the same size. You could make your drawing a little smaller, but I found the more small you make the drawing, the harder it is to add details. So it always looks better if he's a little bit big. This is going to be his body. Then I'm going to actually add one over here and then over here. And notice that none of these chicks touch each other. That way I'll have room for their wings, their tail feathers, their heads, things like that. If you press hard, it makes it a little bit harder later on, but feel free to press hard. It's not really a big deal. But we are going to turn these smooth chicks into fluffy chicks at one point. So it's kind of nice if you don't press as hard. Okay, so now we need to put some heads on. We're going to take the one right in the front and just kind of put a 3/4 of a circle or a half circle for his head on top. And then always erase the neck because the neck is where the head attaches to the body, but you don't want to show that line. So you want to get rid of it. That's where these big erasers come in handy too. So once you've got your neck on, you're good. And it's more interesting when you do a picture if they are looking in different directions. So we're going to put his little friend over here in another big U shape. And this one over here, we're going to make him look like he's eating off the ground. So we're going to put his head down. So head looking at us, looking to the left, and looking down. You could put him in different places. Maybe he's looking off the page. That would work too. We go ahead and erase their necks now. So all we have right now is a head and a body for 3 baby chicks. If you're behind and I'm going too fast, remember to just stop and pause it so you can keep up. Okay, the next thing we're going to put in is their beaks. We'll start with the one in the middle. His beak is going to be a diamond because he's looking straight at you. So we start with the capital A beginning without the line in the middle, and which is kind of like a little teepee or a mountain. And then we make a V shape underneath, and there's his beak. Now this guy over here is kind of yelling at this guy or talking to him, whatever you think. And we're just going to make 2 V shapes. So one up and then one down. See how he looks like he's talking right off his face? And over here at the bottom, we'll make this guy look like he's eating. So we'll just give him an angled beak so that he looks like he's looking down. So for the first step, we're just going to put their little eyes in as circles. So eyes go right behind the beak and a little bit higher, like this. We'll just put in a little circle. And when you can see both eyes, the eyes are pretty far apart. So we'll put a nice circle on the left and a nice circle on the right. And then for this guy down here, we just need one eye because he's looking down. So we've got beaks, we've got eyes. Let's go ahead and put on the tail feathers, the ones that we can see. Now this guy's staring at you, so no tail feathers. This one's looking at the side, so if you go directly behind his head, you get to his bum. So down here would be his tail feathers. I kind of like to make them kind of a zigzag shape so they look like little ruffled feathers. And then I just erase that line. So he has cute little tail feathers. You wouldn't see that line because that's where it attaches to his bum. Now this guy, his tail feathers are way up here on his bottom. So we're going to just kind of zigzag it up here at the top and give him some cute little tail feathers and not forget to erase that line again. So he's got tail feathers. This one's got tail feathers. This one can't see them. So then we're on to wings. Now, when we put on their wings, you have to think, can I see one? Can I see two? Well, Junior here in the middle, we can see both his wings. Wings generally come out close to the neck or the armpit. And this one is kind of like where his armpit would be. So it's a little lower and we curve out and a little bit lower and we curve out. So we have just like two curves. Notice that these curves go a little bit off his body and a little bit off his body. And then all we need to do is connect it to his body and connect it to his body. And then that line is an overlapping line where the wing overlaps the body. So we can go ahead and erase that line so his wings look like they are holding on to his body. This is where they attach, right here in the armpit. And these are his little shoulders and his little wings. Now this guy, we only see one because we're only seeing half of him. Now remember, wings come out near the neck, so we're going to come back here way high on the neck, make a nice big smile curve, and go right off his back, just before his bum, okay? Then we just need a little tip. So I'm sure you've already guessed, we've got to erase that little line. That's an overlapping line, so we want to make sure we get rid of that line. We don't want to forget that that doesn't show, okay? Now this wing is exactly like this wing, except that this one's going to go up away from the head. So we start at the neck, and we're going to go straight up and off his back like this, and then just put his little tip on again. And like before, we have to erase that little line. So just erase it where it attaches. So they all have wings at this point. This is a good place to stop if you're kind of behind and kind of get caught up. Then we're going to go on to legs. Now, birds' legs are kind of like elbows. Elbows bend back and then forward. Knees go forward and then back. So birds' legs look more like elbows than they do knees. So what's going to happen here is his leg's going to go back and then forward. And the bottom part always goes towards the beak. So his legs aren't on backwards. So back and forward. So for this guy right here, we do the same thing. Go away from the face, back and forward. Now notice how I cross his belly because his legs have to stick past it to touch the ground. So back, forward, back, forward. Now this is only one leg. He needs another leg, but this part up here, the elbow, is on the other side and you can't see through a body. So all you're going to see is an angled line and an angled line. Notice those angles go towards the beak and these angles go towards the beak. They always go towards the front of the face, towards the front of the face. So now we have both legs on these guys. Now this guy's kind of cute. His is super easy but cute. It angles out and it angles out because he's walking towards you, okay? So now we need some feet. The easiest way to put in their feet is some flat curves first. So we're just going to make like little hills. Curve, 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 curve. Now before you go on, check that all your birds have those. There should be 6 curves. 2, 4, 6. So then we have enough legs for everybody. Nobody's missing a leg. Now they have an extra toe coming off the middle towards the face. So one more toe, going away from the face, one more toe, away from the face, one more toe. So those extra toes kind of go out. And this one goes towards the face. Angle out, angle out. So if everybody has 3 toes, we're ready to go on. Okay, so what's fun at this point is all the little details. Right now, he looks so smooth and kind of boring. So what we want to do is make him look fluffy. And the way to make him look fluffy is to give him a zigzag for his fur to make it look more like a cute little bird. Now let me show you these birds right here. These are ones I drew just a few minutes ago. Notice how he looks nice and fluffy. And this one's a mean little bird. And this is a sweet little bird, but see the little zigzag that gives him kind of a fluffy look? So we'll go ahead now and do that. And you could just use a regular pencil. Now if you have a Sharpie, you could use a Sharpie too. That would work too. The negative on a Sharpie is that if you make a mistake, you're kind of stuck with it. So you could turn it into a little detail or something, like give him a hat or something, or a bow tie. But if you don't want to, then you would just go around his body like this and make a cute little zigzag. And then go right along the edge of his wing. And I'm going right on top of my old pencil lines so that I don't have to deal with them. I just leave them right where they are. I just want to take my little tiny chick and make him a fluffy chick. Now sometimes when people do this, they make really big zigzags. Try to make them kind of tight. And if they all look a little bit different, it's okay, because you know what? It gives them personality. I want you to see what I'm going to do to this guy's hair. It's kind of funny. So I'm going to give him a little zigzag, and then kind of like he's got a little bit of a mohawk, funky hairdo, like that. And then I'm going to come down the front here. Isn't he cute? Oh, okay. Here we got this guy. Now you could just leave him smooth on top and kind of go to the left and then to the right. He kind of looks like his hair is split, but I like to give him a little funky hairdo up on top. I think it looks cute. And then I just zigzag really tight on the wings, just a super little tight zigzag, just going right on top of that pencil line. That's one of the reasons we erased the neck, so we wouldn't forget. And then all along his belly, like this. We're going to do the same thing with this guy over here too. Now this is another spot that if you're getting behind, because I'm doing all this zigzagging so fast, you could stop after I finish the zigzagging before we go on, because I'm going to show you some fun little things that you might want to add to your picture. And you want to be all caught up and have all your fluffy little chicks ready to go. So because I go fast on this zigzagging, it's a good time to pause. Okay? So I'm going to assume you're back with me and that you're all caught up. So what we're going to do now is just to decide what we want to do with the eyes. I'm going to give you some options. One is just to fill them in. Baby chicks have these little tiny dark corners. So if you just kind of put a little V in the corner, it'll look more like a baby chick. You could also add a little eyebrow if you wanted. This one here, I'm going to make it more animated. I mean, really, chicks do not have pupils like this with the whites of their eyes. He's going to look a little more like a cartoon. But since I'm the artist, I get to decide what he looks like, which is kind of cute. I could even add some little eyelashes in there if I wanted to, or maybe some mean eyebrows like I did on my other one. Or you could just leave a teeny tiny bit of white up at the top like this guy. But don't forget these little corners. I think they make them look so much more like a chick and not like a duck. Getting that little corner in. I think it's a nice little detail. Then it's nice to not have your baby chicks look like they're floating. So if you want to give the feeling of grass behind them, if you do an irregular zigzag, that means some short, some tall, just like grass grows in the wild. So I go short, tall, short, medium, tall, short. See? Kind of irregular, not the same, just kind of going up and down like grass grows. That gives me this feeling of grass going behind him. Notice that I stopped and I started and I did not run over my baby chicks. That goes behind them. Also, you could show a half of a cloud. Since we don't have a really big piece of paper, you could just come in here and show just part of the cloud. The rest of the cloud is up here off the paper. 2 or 3 might be fun. Some people tend to make them too small, so see if you can make them on the big side. They tend to look better that way. You may want to add a little bit of bird feed, or I should say baby chick feed down here. Just little squiggly lines so this poor bird has something to eat. Some flowers would be fun. I'm sure you could put some down here in the grass, or you could shoot them up from behind. And that's one of my favorite things to do. I'll show you how to do a pretty simple tulip. You just start with a smile like this, and then angle in, and then all it is the capital A. So we go angle, angle. We just don't put the line across. So there's your cute little tulip. And if you draw a little line down, there's a stem. If you draw 2, it'll look like a thicker stem. And you can also add a cute little leaf if you want. Maybe you have a favorite way you like to draw flowers. You could just do a simple flower like this one, kind of cute. And you can add tons of them down here. So here's a little drawing that one of my kids did when they were younger. And notice how they put in little flowers and little grasses. This is all done with crayons and a pencil. And look how cute it is. It sure would make a nice card this time of year too. So that would be kind of fun. It's kind of what you want it to look like. Here's that mean chick that I did. Look what I did to his eyes. See how it angles down and angles down? So he's kind of look like the mad chick in the middle. And this one's talking to him. And this one's just busy eating with her little bonnet on. If you decided to do something like a little bonnet, you would make sure that you didn't trace all the zigzags on the head. You would go ahead and draw that first. And if you have access to paint, I got to show you this guy. He's kind of cute. If you had access to paint and you thought you had an ability to paint this, this would be kind of a fun lesson before Sunday. If you don't celebrate Easter, you just don't decorate the egg. You just put him in an egg, which could be really cute. Okay, so like I said, if you are older, feel free to stay for the next one. The last little thing I want to show you guys is coloring and just some things to be aware of. If you color diagonally, usually things fill in better than if you go up and down or side to side. Diagonal coloring usually looks better on your pictures. When you go up and down and side to side, it tends to make lines in your pictures that sometimes are too dark or too light, and they kind of take away from your picture. So I'm just kind of filling it in. The other thing is if you press hard with the same color on the edges, it tends to make him look a little brighter on the edges and makes the center look lighter, which is really a great way to make you see him better. So I just did that with yellow. I did dark yellow and then I did light yellow. I also like to just color in some few little baby body parts like the beak, tracing the legs, super cute, getting them nice and thick. Also the grass. So if you were going to put in the grass, if you traced it and pressed till your hand practically hurts like that, so it's nice and hard, and then just lightly shade it in with the green back and forth. And notice how I'm going across. When you color this way, it makes the ground look flat. If you go up and down, it doesn't make sense. You want the ground to look flat, so you need to always color the ground back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, and it will look like ground. Up and down, side to side does not look like ground. It kind of confuses you when you're trying to figure out what's in the picture. So if you did flowers, tracing them and then filling them in is a lot more interesting than just filling them in. Also, you might consider a couple colors, like I did pink, and now I'm doing orange, all on the same tulip, which is kind of fun, having it more two-toned. It's a lot more interesting. See how fun that is? Okay, hope you have fun with this lesson, and I'll see you next week. Take care.